Welcome to Loving Me Before I Love You with Tammy Nicole, the podcast dedicated to you loving and putting yourself first. Others have come first in your life for years, and you know it's time for that to change. You're about to be empowered to set healthy boundaries, confidently have hard conversations, unapologetically put yourself first, and live the peaceful life you deserve. Remember, self-love is essential, and loving yourself sets the stage for every other love in your life. So get ready to embrace self-love like never before with your host, Coach Tammy Nicole.
Hey, welcome over to Transformation Tuesday at Loving Me Before I Love You. You guys know we are in the spring of things. And when you're in the spring of things, what are you doing? You're cleaning, you're reorganizing, you are revitalizing. And today's episode is none other than Revitalize Your Space. Tips for an energized environment. Our spin today is more about the environment that you hold within your well-being. And so we are coming with a guest, and she is a fabulous guest. She is a woman who focuses on health and wellness. She's a triathlete. She is vegan. She's a mom. She's a wife. And I'm excited to have her. I'm hoping that she will give you guys so much insight about how to revitalize your space, and that space being you. Welcome to the show. Now, we've had this big to do over her name, you guys, and y'all know how I feel about saying everybody's names right. And her name is Zsa Zsa, and she's clapping. That means I said it right. But she also goes by Z for short. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation.
Yes. So I think a lot of times we don't really talk about energy, and, you know, April comes and everybody's like, oh, are you spring cleaning? Are you ready? You know, getting ready for this second quarter of the year. We just went through I would call it, I really do call first quarter foolishness, but, you know, people think I'm crazy, but it's first quarter foolishness in my mind because we are always running rapid, pretending to change, pretending to do something new, pretending to change our lives. We go through New Year's resolutions, then we go through new love, then we go through, you know, for February, everybody wants to be in love, all of that good stuff. And then March is like, wait, what did I do last month? And what did I do the month before that? We clueless. So when we get to April, we like, let's clean this mess up that we just created and try to start over again. Second quarter is you know, the second stretch of trying to do it over. And so I just want to talk about how we are to revitalize our space and get fresh energy. And I want to know, how does your approach to health and wellness influence the way you kind of like design your own personal space? Like, how does that connect for you?
Well, I have been on a health and wellness journey. I'd say I revamped and cleaned up my life when I hit 40, because I realized for one of our family photos, which I love at Christmas time, do a family photo. And I have 3 kids, and I'm a military wife, and I got everyone together for what they need to do for the family photo. And then when it was time for me to put on my outfit, because I planned everybody else's outfit, I planned our theme, my clothes didn't fit. So I wind up standing in the back of the photo, and that's when I was like, okay, I need to change a couple of things because I'm not buying new clothes. The outfits and the suits that I had were very expensive. So that's not an option.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I decided I needed to make a change and revitalize my life. And it became a lifestyle for me. And so the whole thing of health and wellness, I've been on a journey from 40 until now. That's 10 years ago. I'm 50 this year.
What?
And
No, ma'am. Get it, girl.
Thank you.
You look fabulous.
Thank you. You do too. And I have just been on this journey of making sure that I stay well for my family, making sure that I'm good so that I can do things for them. So that it's when that we have that family photo, I have peace within myself. So I've been on this journey, I think, for 10 years, but it is a lifestyle now for me, that I constantly have to do that cleaning that you're talking about.
Yeah. Cleaning, refocus, decluttering, starting things from a fresh space at times is super, super important. I think like when you talk about being whole and healthy and in peace and all of those things, like, man, I could just think back to the doctor saying, "Oh, you need to lose a little weight." And I'm like, yeah, okay, but I don't really want to do all of that. Like, I just want to live my life. And I decided, which is a little different than going to be healthy. Not saying that I shouldn't, and not saying that, I don't try to make healthy choices, but I just decided to be happy in the space that I was in, and not just feel like I had to go immediately lose weight or change my diet or what have you. And people say, "Oh no, you shouldn't be doing that. You should really, want to be healthier," right? Because that's what's going to give you long life and stability. And it's like, it's so hard. So hard. I tried, okay, I'm going to take out red meat. I was like, I first got to start with loving me where I'm at.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where I've been over the past couple of years, is simply being in the space of loving me where I am, and then learning to accept things for like kind of like where they are, how they are, and then changing my own space energy, like with inside of me. Like, it was like, yeah, I may not like the size, right? But I have to still learn to love me, and that peace and that space on the inside has to align.
Right. And honestly, I think that became a realization for me when I kind of looked in the mirror, looked at the pictures, and I was happy with myself. But over time, I started to realize, okay, I have 3 kids. They're not my hobby. They're my children. So I was on a journey of, I have to figure out something for myself so that I can be happy, in the skin that I'm in. And it wasn't about weight. It was about, I didn't realize I went from this space to this space. And what am I actually doing for myself to stay healthy, and to stay healthy for me so that I can be healthy to take care of my family? And I wind up being vegan over time. I was vegetarian for quite some time. And
tell me, I don't mean to cut you off, but I do want you, because you just mentioned vegetarian and vegan, to share what the difference is.
Sure. Vegetarian. So vegan, I'll just tell you for vegan, because, there's always a debate on vegetarian.
No.
But I can tell you what vegans do not eat.
Okay.
Anything from animals. I don't have dairy. I do not have, anything that comes from, like I said, from an animal. So there's no milk, there's no eggs, there's no beef, there's no fish. I don't eat any of those things. And I'm happy this way. So I will say that. I have learned to appreciate so many things that come from the earth. I have learned to make vegetables in so many different ways that I'm just full from that I don't feel a need. And it's not, for me, I'm not vegan because of animals, because I wasn't one that said, oh, I'm not that vegan that says I'm trying to save animals. It's more so of what I'm seeing that's processed, what's been added to meat, what's been added to animals, things, pesticides, and things that I'm just learning in the US that I don't see overseas in other countries. And so the color of meat here, how long meat is lasting, the preservatives and things that they're adding, it
Right.
doesn't agree with my system. And so I've realized over time the bacteria and other things that are coming with meat don't agree with me. And so I took that out of my diet. And I learned that, being a triathlete, I was on the course. I loved beef and I love steak, but I traveled and I had steak. And I decided that I wasn't, leading up to the race, I was like, oh, maybe I'll take some things out of my diet to lose some weight and to get ready for the race. And I put that back in my diet race week. And I realized I reintroduced bacteria in my system. I was sick the whole time. I was sick for 2 weeks because I took the bacteria away and then I reintroduced it. And I realized okay, I don't want to feel this way anymore. And I don't want to be sick anymore. So I went cold turkey. So that's how I transition, which it takes a lot of planning, but,
sure
and weight loss did come with it, but I'd say energy also came with it. And so, like I said, a lot of my why was taking care of myself and taking care of my family, and I'm healthier. I can't remember the last time I had a cold. I'm rarely sick. I still have yet to have COVID. I opened a restaurant during the time and I don't take any medication. Like I'm almost 50. I'm 50 this year. I don't have any high blood pressure issues. I don't have diabetes. So I really, say that is really based off of my diet, my plant-based diet. And so, and you can't prevent everything, right? There's always going to be something that happens. But there are preventable diseases. So, your diet plays a part, and it played a lot in my mental health. I'm premenopausal and what you eat plays a huge part into that. It plays a huge part into your wellness, into your mind. And because I'm not eating certain things, I think that, contributes to my happiness and my wellness. And so that's just something that I've been keeping. And so I think in the beginning, maybe I craved other things. And now I'm just, very content and very happy with, the lifestyle that I've chosen.
That's awesome. I think a lot of times we don't really realize how much food plays a part in us. You know what I mean? Like, granted, we know that the food provides energy or lack thereof, and that we need it to function on whatever level, right? Like you got to eat. Like if you don't eat, you die. Like you can't live on water alone forever. You know what I mean? So, but actually understanding the content of the food that you place in your body and how it actually affects you. I think that we are so, I don't even want to call it brainwashed, but for lack of better words, we are brainwashed to just feeling and thinking that this is the norm. It's the common source of food. And when you mentioned like other countries, etc., recently I don't know if it was TikTok. It probably was, because TikTok is my TV news channel these days.
Me too.
So it probably was TikTok, and everybody is expatting and going across country lines because we're not gonna say why. Y'all know why. But they were talking about how so much of our food is, oh my God, what is the word? Like, I don't want to say exiled, but it's like forbidden to be provided in these other countries. And they're trying to figure out, how does the FDA allow it in this one? And how moving allowed them to become healthier because they're consuming different, types of food, and that it's a whole different world. And they feel like different people, better people, their energy is different because of the food change.
Yeah. My husband is stationed in Italy right now. And I noticed a difference when I gone to visit him within the supermarkets. Just for one, what time restaurants and different places close.
Oh,
In the area in which he lived in, different from the city, so maybe in city areas where it's kind of like nightlife touristy, but in residential areas, they're not open late at night because the thought is you should be at home with your family eating at the table,
mm,
And so I noticed how, he'll try to say, if he's leaving work early, he has to get out to the store quickly because they're closing early. I'm used to a New York City and places where it's like the city that doesn't sleep. Well, it's
right.
not like that everywhere. I also noticed that certain things in the supermarket are just different. You don't have the same products because those products, again, are banned.
Yep.
They require a lot of testing of food and products. And so that doesn't get approved where we get it approved here. And so that's really played a lot into what I allow in my system. Unfortunately, my mom died of cancer 2 years ago. And every doctor that came in, I asked them, how did she get colon cancer? 1 minute, in February, I gave her a 63-year-old birthday party. 3 months later, 63 or 66, can't remember. But then 3 months later, she's at stage 4 of colon cancer. And I was asking, what caused this? How do people, and every single doctor, nurse, and person who came in there said red meat diet. Like red meat
Wow.
diet. And then they kept on what they were doing. Like it just rolled off their tongue. And I was just like, well, let me ask the next person. Next person come in. So what causes colon cancer? Red meat diet. And then they kept going. And, then my thought was, she doesn't even eat that much red meat. Like she eats chicken. She didn't have a bad diet. I didn't consider her someone who was, overweight. She still walked with me. But we don't realize how the things that we're putting in our mouth, what that's doing to us. And so I'm just one that is always, if I decide to shop in the aisles versus a produce area, the first thing I do is turn it around to read the ingredients. Can I pronounce everything that's in here? Because if I cannot, then it stays on the shelf.
That is a really good tip. That is a really good, right.
What is this? Who made this?
Right.
Made here. That's not something I'm doing right now.
That is a really good tip because we don't honestly really think about that. You know what I mean? Like as far as like, can you pronounce the words? I think that a lot of times we are so focused, or we think that the things that are in things that we can't pronounce are simply from an educational problem and not necessarily from a reality of this is what you should be like. You should be able to read that this is beans and that this is, cauliflower and this is, like little things like that, that's incorporated.
Right. I can read wheat, but what's the rest of this stuff?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm Googling and looking up and how something is processed. And I'm like, this should not be legal. So I put it back. Yeah, that's a big reason why I changed my diet and changed my lifestyle. And no, not a fad, not something I do every 2 weeks. I want it to sustain in my body, not take my system through, those multiple changes. And again, that comes with, helps with wellness and your mindset. And I know it's about, we want to talk about spring cleaning, but I started cleaning things up for myself at 40. And now, 10 years later, I just keep trying to figure out what's another great recipe, another way to make cauliflower, another way just to keep things fresh. But I'm very intentional about what I eat because I find that plays a huge part of wellness.
Absolutely. I think a lot of times, because yes, we're talking about spring cleaning or doing something new and like re-energizing ourselves, but through wellness, right? Like how do we do it? And I think the food aspect is a great way, to do it. The person that's listening that is like, oh my God, that's just way too much work, right? How do we simplify it? How do we give it a more appeal outside of, and I mean when I say appealing, outside of it being you need to make yourself, feel better, look better, be better health-wise, how do you make the process appealing to a generation that is right now? I don't even like to say the word microwave because we ain't supposed to be using it, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do we make that process more appealing to start and want to try, like actually try it and keep it going?
Yeah. So to start, how I started, my husband's in the military. He came home from Afghanistan, and I noticed the food that he was eating. It did a lot to his system when he was overseas, and his cholesterol was high, and his blood pressure was high. And so the first thing I had to do was, okay, well, what are we going to do to change that? And I started by just going through our cabinet. And I said, okay, and Googling, what are the foods that can bring your blood pressure down? What are the foods that will cause high blood pressure? So you want to look at both sides.
Mm-hmm.
What are the things that will raise things up? Either your pressure, inflammation. What are the things that will bring it down so you can do more of that and less of this?
Mm-hmm.
And so I started by taking an assessment, right? The spring cleaning, going through my closet and my pantry and the refrigerator. Let's go to the list of the things that I shouldn't be doing or he shouldn't be doing. How many of these things are in here? Let's replace it with the things I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So first, just to start with the cleaning, all of the things. And sometimes it'll be like, I think this whole closet has got to go. And that's okay. But then you think, what should I replace it with? And before you go to that grocery store, what meals and things can I make with these things? My husband always tells me, please stop going to the grocery store or to the stores hungry. Plan out what you're doing. So you start by doing an assessment and then start to make a plan. Here's the things that I can do. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to go out and replace everything for the next 2 months, because then you'll be on the process side. You're trying to purchase something that is going to be lasting long, and it's lasting that long because of what they put in it. So,
that's a good point.
We want to think about, let's just, again, starting, what are we going to do this week? A Saturday, think about your groceries. What are we going to do this week? This is what we can do. And then Sunday, start to plan it out. Start to prep it out. Here's what we're going to do. But start by taking an assessment, cleaning. If you're a person that has ailments and, I always recommend blood work to figure out where you're at. Sometimes people are like, oh, you're vegan. How do you get enough protein? Who told you you needed more protein? Did your doctor tell you you needed more protein? Get a blood test instead of reading things online. Figure out where you're at, because I've been told more that I need more iron than protein. So then I've had to go and say, okay, Google is your friend. It's out there, right? Figure out the things that have the most iron, the most protein. And then what type of meals would you like to make out of those things? Because everything that you're Googling, you're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like this. What of the 12, 13 things on that list that you do like? And then what are meals that you can make with that for that week? Not the next 2 months and you're overwhelming yourself. Just this week, or maybe the next 2 weeks that I can do and make for myself. Assess, do I love it? Is this something I like? Get yourself a whiteboard. This is a meal that we can keep doing. Next 2 weeks, what's something else that I like that's on my good list of keeping? Try another dish. Try a couple of dishes that you like. One that you know what? Ooh, you're at work? Girl, that's good. What are you eating? Oh, it's something new. Write that down. Now you got 2 things.
Yeah.
Keep going for the next couple of months of the things you have. And guess what? You just cleaned it up and you've made yourself a new plan and a new lifestyle.
Hey, hope you're feeling the love in today's episode. We'll pick back up where we left off in a moment. First, we're excited to share that Tammy has a collection of self-love t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and journals for you to express how much you love yourself to the world. From comfy hoodies to motivational mugs, there's something for everyone. While you're listening to today's show, feel free to browse the full collection at IamTammyNicole.com. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get back into today's show.
That's really good. Because ironically, I shop weekly for groceries. I don't like going into the grocery store simply because I'm going to pick up everything based upon oh, I see it. That looks good. Let me try it. And it has nothing to do with, am I going to eat it this week? So what I try to do is online shop. I'll go pick it up, but I use my phone. And I'm like, what do I want to eat for dinner Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? And I only want to cook 3 days. So the other 2 days has to be leftovers from the previous day. So let's say I'm going to cook Sunday. I won't cook Monday. I'm going to cook Tuesday. I won't cook Wednesday. I'm going to cook Thursday. I will not cook Friday. Saturday, everybody on their own. Figure out what you want to eat. Be it an extra leftover or something you came up with, this is what you're making. So I love the idea of, pre-planning from that perspective and do it for the week. Don't do it for the month. And I love the idea of testing it out. So that's like, I may have to try a little bit of that myself. I do know that we should stop eating so much processed food. I know that that's a fact. Yeah. It's a fact. It's just easier. But the things that's worth having is hard. It's, you have to do the work.
It feels easier when you're not planning it. So if you have a plan, then that's easier because you already know what you're doing, right? If you didn't have it in the plan, then you're trying to figure it out while you're hungry, which is, which makes it hard. And then you're trying to think and you're like, you know what, who wants Popeyes? Who wants Chick-fil-A? Who wants, you know what I mean? Because you're overwhelmed with the planning because you didn't plan and now you're hungry and everyone's looking at you for what are we going to eat? But for me, what I try to do on Saturday, what's the plan? Get the food, whether I'm getting on my phone or I'm picking it up or I'm doing grocery stores because I want to pick out sometimes my own veggies.
Produce, and stuff. Produce. Yeah, because they don't.
About the produce. I'm picking because these potatoes. Like, girl, this is the big.
You wouldn't eat it. Why are you picking it up, putting it in my bag?
Cucumber looking like, and do you see these dents in this? So I'm a little particular about picking up my produce.
I'm with you when you're right. Because I be wanting, I literally low key want to go back and say, who packed this?
Right. Exactly.
I just need the person that packed this to come see me real quick and ask you, would you eat this? This right here, would you eat it for yourself?
See this with these strawberries and these tomatoes? Like, girl. So, I'm a little particular about that. So I try to front load like my salads and other things earlier in the week. And then I do again on Wednesday, like midweek. Cause I used to do the full week. And sometimes I look at the meal on Thursday and Friday and I'm like, I don't want this. So, and I don't want to waste food. So I do now from Sunday to Wednesday. I reassess. And then I do for the rest of the week. So then I don't also have, you're on your own Friday. I'm tired. Let's just throw this out. We'll start over again. I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? Because that chili.
You in my house?
It was just going to waste. So I'm like, okay, no more. I'm doing 3 meals, 3 or 4. We will reassess on Wednesday what we're doing the rest of the time. And because I'm a triathlete, Wednesday and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, those are my heavier training days. Like I, run and bike and swim longer on the weekend. So it makes sense that I reassess on, Wednesday to try to get my meals a little bit more calories for the end of the week. And then I'm like, okay, let's make sure I'm having the greens and everything that I need to have. So I'm trying to balance. Yeah. And so I'm not one of those vegans that have the stuff certain things every day. I try to get the carbs and other things later in the week, potatoes and stuff like that, because I know I'm going to do a long bike, a long run, a long swim, and I don't want to be hungry after I'm done, because then I'm stopping for French fries. That's
Man.
just my weakness. But early in the week, I'm like, okay, you had all that in the weekend. Let's do a couple salads. Let's make sure we get enough leafy greens and stuff in my system. Make sure everything's working properly. So that's how my meal prepping goes. But when I used to do the whole week, Thursday and Friday, that stuff went in the trash. Just be honest.
Let's keep it all the way real, right? Like all the way real, because that's exactly what happens. That's what I say. You in my house, because I planned that, and then I get to that, and I was like, I thought I wanted that. I wanted that on Sunday, and then during the week happened. A meeting may not have gone right. Something happened. It's like, you know what? I don't want that no more. I want something sweet. I want something that's a little more feeling different. So you're 100% right. 100% right. But when we think about all of those things, and we have all of these new plans in place of how to combat and, fight against all of those struggles, because they struggles. How do you take, and because you're vegan, and that's really where I'm about to go, right? Like how do you like not cheat? Because we're gonna call it cheating when we're starting fresh, right? When we're revitalizing and we're starting fresh and we're trying to learn a new way of living. How do you not cheat? Or, because let's just be honest, we probably are gonna cheat, because you're creating a new lifestyle, bad habits, as they gonna sneak up until you are like full-fledged rid of the desire and the taste of something that you've been eating 40 years of your life. And I say that because you said you started at 40. If I've been eating this for 40 years of my life and I'm changing and I'm wanting to do something different, I do know that most of it is a mindset shift, right? In the full desire. But we're going to slip up, because it's just a habit. Like you say, your cheat is to get French fries from a restaurant. And that's now, even being full vegan and living your lifestyle for 10 years. But just think about day one, week one, month one in that transition. How did you work through those small setbacks?
Yeah. And it's really about how you feel, right? When you're doing it because you want to feel better. And I think early on we said, it's not really about how we want to look. Like sometimes that's a factor, but eventually you feel better. You have more energy, and you recognize that when you slip up, you don't have the energy and you don't feel good, and you're sick and you have a cold. And then it becomes, you know what? I need to drink some more water. You know what? Let me make myself a detox green juice, which I've made several videos for people how to, because you realize when you do slip up, because like you said, it does happen. When I don't plan, then I'm just like, oh, I'll get this vegetarian something, knowing that somebody else put a whole lot of salt and sodium in it and they didn't do the things that I do. And I pay for it, right? I pay for it in my gut. It sits there. I'm not able to poop. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff that's processed, you feel it. And so how do you not do that? Your body will tell you, because when you take those things away, your body is going to tell you, whether when you go to the bathroom, your skin will let you know. There's so many ways that it will show up in your skin, in your body, your complexion, like so much changes. And then when you don't do that, bumps start to come, your pores look a little differently, your attitude is a little different. Like it shows. It's not like, somebody who's drinking like, oh, they must be a little drunk. Oh, you must be hungry, or you must have eaten something you shouldn't have. You go for a run and you're like, my stomach doesn't feel as good. You feel it. So that's something, whether it's cheating or going off of your normal regimen, your body is going to let you know. Because when you change it, your body is going to let you know that like, oh, okay, I'm recognizing some changes. When you go back, your body is going to let you know. So how do you stay on track? You just go back to that plan, that whiteboard that I said, let's look at the things that worked. Let's look in the cabinet. What did I go and get? Them chips that I said I'm not supposed to have anymore, and them chocolate chip cookies and things. Let me just take these out. Go back to your spring cleaning. Let's go back to the list that we Googled of the things that need to happen, and just keep evolving.
Yeah.
Like I said, I, started a lifestyle change in 40s to work my way to where I am. Every year I evolve. Like I find, people on TikTok that come up with recipes and I was like, ooh, I never thought about doing that with squash. That's a new way that I'm going to make something. It's like, oh, I never thought of that. You could do that with kale. Like I juice it. I didn't think like, oh, maybe I should make chips. That's just an example. So
I love kale chips.
I know.
Yes.
So you evolve, you learn new things, keep researching, follow people. I mean, we're in the age that we have social media. Find the good things to help your mindset and try to do that spring cleaning and unfollow the things that are sending you back in the place that you don't need to be.
That is amazing because we rarely talk about how social media is a part of our environment, how social media is a part of our actual world. And so the unfollowing and the following, and everybody talks about what's on my algorithm and what's on my FYP and, what am I seeing on the day-to-day basis? Let's spring clean our social media for healthier energy, to having a better sense of us. So you should be unfollowing the things that are toxic to your body and your mental.
And your mental.
And
like
your
when
heart.
I see these things that are just like, why do I keep, let me go to them 3 dots where it says remove, never see this again. That's why those options are there. Never see this again, because this is not something that I need to be doing, not something I need to be following. Look up things. It will change your algorithm for you, and then like it. And then those are the more of the things that you need to see and follow. And it's like, oh, I need to get off, these things because it's causing me to do this. You can control that. You can control those algorithms by unfollowing and looking up the things that you need to be doing.
Yeah. And even go to the point of blocking certain profiles, because you do control your environment. And if you want something to be new, fresh, spring cleaned, it's up to you. Like you have to do the work, but you have to put yourself in spaces and places that align with that change.
And if you keep going to the old mess, watching the old mess, reading the old mess, you're going to stay in that stinky mess. But if you go to the new clean area, then you'll evolve into having more of those habits.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you want to love on yourself just a little bit more, when you want to cleanse yourself from old habits and old junk food, the things that are not helping you, the things that are not perpetuating you to the new you that you want to be, it's like change your space, change your environment. She said, clean out the cupboards, clean out the refrigerator. That's your environment. We are now also saying, clean up your FYP. Stop following people who are not doing the things that you want to do, that are not basically encouraging you to do the new things that you're listing that you want to try. So, and then you may not like this part, but your environment is also the people that you hang around. You may have to do a inventory of friends and family. Yeah. family is included. Remember, family is not a requirement. It's just someone you were born into the family of. Like, you don't have to always connect with these people. People always say, "Why do you say that?" I say it because it's real.
No, it's real. You don't have to adopt those things that has come with the family for years. You can be the person that says, "We're going to stop this right now."
Mm-hmm.
And if
It's
you're not
tradition, but we're changing
I am going to stop it right now.
Right. It's tradition, but we're changing it.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be different. It's okay to stand alone. It's okay to do what's best for you. But I'm always going to say, find out what's best for you.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't know what that is.
Yeah.
If you were to give
your assessment, he's not giving it for the whole family. When he's giving you your blood work, it's not like, let's all talk about our blood work. No, it's for you.
Yeah.
These are the things that are harming you. These are the things that, your body needs. It's not what everyone's body needs. So get your assessment first.
Absolutely.
And then figure out what else you need to do. And they don't do it for the family.
That part. So if you were to share one must-have, one element that's like, you know what, if I need my energy or my space to be revitalized from a wellness perspective, what is that one thing you would share?
I love also revisiting what I'm listening to. We didn't talk about that. We talked about things that you see, things that you eat, the people you talk to. But there's things that I stopped listening to and things that I've started to listen to. So I made an assessment of different audiobooks and podcasts and music that I want to keep me in that mood. I have a certain playlist so that I don't hit that snooze button. Instead of doing that, I hit the music that gets me energized, makes me happy about I woke up this morning and my plans for the day. When I'm on my way to work, I listen to certain things that gets me in that mindset of I'm a bad girl. And I'm about to show them when I get here. And when I leave there, I'm thinking about all the things that I'm grateful for. So I see my children at home. I'm in this mindset. And sometimes if I'm working out in the evening, keep me pumped so that I'm not tired while I'm, drinking my energy drink. So I also think you need to think about what you're listening to, what you're putting in your ear, because that goes to your mind. That goes to your thoughts. That takes over. That sometimes comes out of your mouth. Right. And you want to make sure the things that you're projecting are the things that that are really about you. And that really comes through with things that you listen to because it's staying in your brain, right? People are like, I can't get that song out of my head.
Yeah.
What are the things you want to make sure you can't get out of your head? What are the quotes that you want to make sure that you can't get out of that you want to project to someone else, that you would want somebody else to say to you? What you're listening to, I think plays a very big part in your day.
Absolutely.
With the radio station, I'm more about podcasts like this. I'm more about audiobooks and, certain music to get me in the mood. And there doesn't have to be lyrics, but what are you listening to? That plays a big part in your wellness.
I 100% agree. Because, I often say on here too, as a man thinketh, so is he. And so what are you thinking about? What are you putting in the well? And when I was younger, my mom used to talk about how music was like lethal. She would be like, she would only allow us to listen to gospel music. Something would come on the radio that would be inappropriate. She'll switch that radio station so fast it'll make your head spin. And she said, what does the word music mean? And the base of it being muse, meaning inspiration and guidance. And the words that you're hearing play in your mind all the time. Like you said, I can't get that song out of my mind, but it's not even that. You can hear a song today that you haven't heard in years, and your mind will immediately be triggered to what you were doing the last time you heard that song. It is embedded into your fabric of your being. A song. You can think about everything that you did when that song was on, and it sends like flashbacks, like flood of water. It's like, oh man, I was with this person. We were doing this. We was having so much fun. Or it could be something sad. Like it can be a lot of things, but a song is a very triggering tool. And so anything that you listen to, you know, any quote that you hear, any inspirational person that you follow, and it's like the things that come off their lips that stick to your soul will always be there.
Right.
So it's very important. So when you said that, I was like, oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us. This has been very insightful, and, you know, a lot to learn, you know, for myself, because I do need to do a lot more healthy eating. But remember, I start like being loving and accepting of who I am, where I am first. And then it's like you accept the things that you need, and you say, okay, I need to do healthier eating. So I'm going to try that. You know, I'm going to look into it because it's super important. It's a part of the self-love journey. We talk a lot of things self-love over here, but how it affects every area of our lives. And so even in this aspect of spring cleaning and cleaning ourselves inside out, and our actual environment that actually filtrates into that same process, as we have mentioned several times today, I very, very, very big on loving yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.
Yes.
It is what we say all the time. And I want you guys to go forth and do that. And remember, if you want to connect, reach out, go to coaching at IamTammyNicole.com and send me an email, and I'll be glad to assist you. And tell them how they can reach you.
You can reach me at exposedvegan.com. I have a website, I have a YouTube channel, podcast, and I have a book. So if you go to my website, you can get all of this information.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So again, thanks for joining us, and we will catch you guys next Tuesday as Transformation Tuesdays at Loving Me Before I Love You. Remember, love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus. Have a good one.
That's a wrap on another episode of Loving Me Before I Love You. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a second to show your support by subscribing and leaving a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Stay connected with Tammy. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and TikTok at Coach Tammy Nicole. If you like to work with Tammy or have any questions you'd like her to answer, please head over to www.IamTammyNicole.com. Until next time, always remember to love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.